Okay. Ah, yes. Satisfaction. The art of putting the square block perfectly into the circle hole. Or is it? No, it's the circle block goes into the square hole. Circles are just squares without corners, and that's how it fits in there. Ah, yes. Video games. Satisfying? What feeling is ever greater than satisfying moments in video games? You wanna be in this take, Ivy? Sit. What is a greater source of entertainment than satisfaction? What feeling in entertainment is more gratifying than satisfaction? What is more satisfying itself than satisfaction? Satisfaction is pretty important. If your video game is not satisfying, what is it? I'll give you a hint. It's not satisfying. I happen to quite enjoy satisfying video games. I, in fact, quite enjoy specifically satisfying things in video games. So much so that I've gone through the trouble and the unnecessary amount to create an entire video essay and a page full of notes describing satisfying things I have noticed in video games. So much so that I want to break down the very fabric of satisfaction in video games. In order to properly understand satisfaction, we're gonna need to break it down into some core tenets to help us define it. And thus, I have isolated the 6 core tenets of satisfaction. At least in video games, of course. They include theory, rhythm, sound effects, visual effects, output, and completion. A few things to note before getting into this. I'm very much an avid player of hero shooters. They're my primary, sort of deal. Things like TF2, Garden Warfare, very recently Marvel Rivals and Deadlock. Very good. So a lot of my perception of satisfaction comes from these games. That's why you'll probably see them a lot going through this list. I also have Paladins listed on here, which I haven't played in a year. But I remember satisfying things from it. I'm gonna have to reinstall Paladins for this. Anyway, you could totally apply these 6 facets to any sort of game, although I would definitely think there are more to it, but these are just the ones that I identified through my experiences. And what better place to start than with theory? As theory usually happens before anything even does. What better time to think about what you're going to do before you're doing it? There is no more fun time in a game than not playing it, and instead thinking about it. After all, in your head, everything goes right every time. And while your best laid plans may not always come to fruition, thinking them up is pretty fun. It involves a lot of planning and a lot of creativity. It's always a fun moment when you hit that Kronk pose. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. I can't do a Patrick Warburton impression. Deadlock's build marketplace is one of the best places to find all the failed ideas you could ever want. But you know somebody had a lot of fun theory crafting it. Maybe you're a fan of Team Fortress and you found a set of weapons on a class that you haven't seen in a while, and you think to yourself, maybe I can do something interesting with this. And if you're not a fan of shooters, why not a deck builder? Hearthstone, Marvel Snap. The perfect place to make a deck that will definitely win. Don't worry, little Timmy. One of these days, the darkness will wake up. I am little Timmy. If I played Hearthstone when darkness came out, it would be in every deck. Not because I would wake up, but because the thought of it waking up would be more satisfying than the actual, thing waking up. I don't care how many games I lose, the second I play the darkness and I draw all 3 of its candles on the first turn I pass, I could care less. That shit's awesome. I'll lose because he'll just clear it, but who cares? The darkness woke up. I'm infinitely cooler than you. While even the best laid plans might not always work out, when they do, you might find yourself entering a... So let's start this segment off with a jam. we're going straight into rhythm. When the plan all comes together, you might find yourself jiving all around, left and right, all throughout the battle. When you get into that flow state, you might find yourself in the zone. What is the zone, you might ask? As if I'd ever tell you. You'll just have to find your way in there yourself. Let's just say the zone is a place where you feel locked in. Your body's motor functions will serve one purpose: the flow. Maintaining it, activating it, preserving it, dominating with it. And while you're doing it will come a feeling of ease, a sort of eye in the storm. While the anxiety of the fight might overtake you, the feeling of the flow as you sweep from enemy to enemy, going through, clearing the battlefield. It's what you deserve. After all that hard theory crafting, after all that planning, led to this one moment. You have become the most efficient machine on the battlefield. You have entered the zone. Symptoms of entering the zone might include feeling the flow. Some characters in games feel like they were designed to have rhythm. Something like Winter Soldier, who has 3 shots in his clip, but reloads whenever he uses an ability. So you get into this sort of pattern of pop, pop, pop. When you're playing Winter Soldier, you get into a sort of rhythm. However, there may come times where you're thrown off your rhythm. You lose the beat. You leave the zone. I have left the zone right now because I got distracted by my cat eating my green screen. But something else that can be satisfying is regaining the flow. What's more satisfying than being on your last limb, being lost and quite possibly not knowing where to go? You feel like this life is hopeless and that it's all gone in the gutter. But then you see it. A chance, a hope, a metronome in the dark to find the zone and to find your rhythm and to get back on track. And hitting that from the brink, coming back. What could be more satisfying than that? That. I'll tell you what. Sound effect. We'll include me opening the drink in the footage because that's what cool YouTubers do. They have little out of character moments to say, hey, I'm a real person, until you get a certain amount of views and then you're, hi, I swear I'm a real person. And they have to add these moments in specifically to help with that. Normally you would just cut it out, right? You would just cut out the part where you open your drink because you don't want it to break up the footage. But it's humanizing, right? It's this person has to drink too. My drink of choice today is good old Dr. K because I live near a Kroger. 500 views, ASMR video. Not 500, well, maybe 500 views. No, that's not a good thing to gauge off of. 50 likes. 50 likes and I'll do an ASMR video. That's it. Damn, that shows you my standards for where I am in my career. Sound effects. I don't like shouting into my microphone. Sound effects. Sound effects. Sound effects are one of the most vital parts of any gaming experience. If you willingly came without headphones, what is wrong with you? If you just don't have headphones, that's fine. Good sound effects can enhance any experience. But for video games, you want something that has impact, something that might be, if your character is doing something big and colossal, you want its sounds to feel heavy, feel impactful, feel punchy. For an example of a really low, punchy sound effect, take Shiv's right click from Deadlock. While his left click is a nice little shotgun, the second one is a full double barrel. Maybe you want a nice rumbling sound. For that, Mob Cobb from Garden Warfare has got you. I specifically only ever play Mob Cobb, not because he's good, but because he is satisfying. The slower fire rate combined with the sound of popping corn, you feel every shot and it feels so good to hit all of them. God. I love you, Mob Cop. Never change. Maybe you want something a little swifter. Maybe still punchy, but a little simpler. Hang on, I have a prop for this. I actually was just looking at props in my closet. Let me go get it. First rule, in content creation, there is no such thing as junk, only props you haven't used yet. My microphone is behind me for that. I wanted to get these cards out. This is my deck of cards. We need a sound. And then you get like the individual card. What game could I ever be talking about? Balatro. You want a game of magnificent sound design? You talk Balatro. The sound of the cards coming out of the deck. Just clicking on a card, it's beautiful. And then every single score, a little ding, a little hum. Each individual effect has its own sound effect. Amazing. And the slow incremental tone. Oh, yes! So good. God, I love Balatro. I got these cards out specifically to talk about Balatro. Play Balatro. Support indie games. Especially Balatro. Where's my Joker? This is the black and white Joker, which is my Joker. Here you go. Because I have bicycle. There's our good old Jimbo. Everyone say hi to Jimbo. Balatro, local thunk. Make bicycle card for bicycle card decks. Because they're very common. And their Jokers look like this. And they're silly because they're riding a bicycle. And I think that's really funny. What's one thing that everybody changes as soon as they figure out how to change stuff in TF2? Besides their HUD. That's right. Hit sounds and kill sounds. Hit sounds and kill sounds are fundamental in satisfying gameplay. One of my personal favorites comes from Garden Warfare. It's like you throw a beanbot into a crowd of enemies, it kills them all. It specifically separates it one after another, so you get that yes moment, right? I used to have that as my TF2 thing. Now I have Weird Al saying fat. The hit sound is him breaking his belt buckle. And I like that one, and that's what I'm gonna keep it as. But let's wrap around back to Shiv. We went on the heavier side with its shotgun blast, but maybe we need something kind of like clicking on a card in Balatro, just a nice... I feel like there's something else that's important besides sounds. SFX. VFX. Video. No, the V in VFX doesn't start for video. It stands for visual. Visuals! Visuals are hella satisfying. Good visual effects need to be snappy, flashy, but also kinda simple. After all, when playing a video game, you still want to know what's going on. In addition to providing information, it can also make you look cool as hell. Marvel Rivals has been killing it with the visuals lately. There's this thing in it where you can prestige your character and unlock new icons for when you get a kill. Currently, I have the Magneto and Hulk ones because those are the characters I mostly play. They did such a phenomenal job with it. And every time it pops up on screen, it's like, yes! It's like a culmination of all the work I did to get there to unlock that. And every time I get a kill, it's a reminder that, yes, you did it! Fuck yeah! It's great. It's satisfying. I love it. Ivy! No. Ivy is a transphobe. She's trying to take down my trans flag. Leave it alone! Look at this! This is vandalism. You're a vandal. I've literally been paying attention to you this whole time. You cannot say this is because I'm abandoning you. I've literally been paying attention to you this whole time. Hold on, I have to use a secret trick. The scarf. She kills for this scarf. Ready to see her knock down all my stuff for the scarf? God damn it. If you're wondering what my plushies are, I've got the pink plush cat. Then I have Sylveon, trans doggy, with Mothman riding her. And I think it's cool as hell.
He's satisfying because he's a character where it's hard to hit your opponent, but when you do, they usually lose at least half their health bar. Again, Buster in specific being a single move that's really hard to hit, but if you hit it, you get to see half their health go away at once, which is pretty nice. He's also considered an underdog and has some flashy tech, so even just watching a good Potemkin player is pretty satisfying.
What I find satisfying in video games is predicting your opponents in a game like Plants vs. Zombies Heroes, for example in the form of grave baiting, which is the practice of tricking your opponent into making disadvantageous trades by playing around what people expect to be there. It feels so good to see the opponent play a 2-2 on my gravestone, making them think it's a very good card like Swashbuckler, only to be surprised by the Monkey Smuggler and losing tempo advantage and probably conceding because they lost so hard.
And then after you get those kills, what's more satisfying than a clean wall in the kill feed? Some games even go out of their way to make sure you know which ones are yours. TF2 highlights them in white. And while we're looking at the kill feed, why not have a look at the scoreboard, which conveniently shows you all of your statistics for the round. And after you look at all your teammates' stats so you can talk shit about them, you can look to yours and see the numbers. This conveniently leads right into the next segment. Because once you look at all your numbers, you realize the work you've done. You see your output, your numbers, what it's all led to. The plan came together. You felt the rhythm. You heard your abilities go off. You saw the results. You saw the kill take place. And now, you get to see it all in a glorious, organized, numerical fashion, of which you can weigh against the pitiful foes of which you can compare against the of which you can compare to the pitiful foes you pummeled to get there, and thus leads to output, to output, to output, to output, to output. I'm gonna take another drink so I can work to output this video. Look at all those numbers. I did all that. So much. So quickly. Oh, yes. Such a clean run. Only a few deaths. Preferably not my own fault, of course. But so many eliminations. And so many assists. Oh, I'm so helpful. Who knew looking at a glorified Excel sheet could feel this good? Yes. As you remember before, we theorized our plan. That felt good. We got into a rhythm. That felt good. And now we get to see the fruits of our rewards. Maybe not a total victory yet, but we're getting there. Like in Deadlock, taking that first tower, winning your lane, up on souls, up on kills. Yes! It feels so good, and you get to see it on the map. A tile missing. You've made progress. And progress is satisfying. Especially hard-fought progress. Maybe you're playing a roguelike. You've struggled, you've failed in the past, but this time, you saw the way through, and you worked towards it, and the output led you into a path, a run that could work, only because you put in the effort, and output came the way. Ooh, satisfying. Maybe you're down on your luck, you couldn't quite find your rhythm, you couldn't quite find your flow, but you're getting back into it. And a game that once seemed lost, perhaps in Marvel Rivals, where the enemy team has pushed you to the last point and you just barely held. And now you're on offense and it seems hopeless. They were burning you, but you pushed through it, and you worked through it, and you break that first point. With only seconds to spare, overtime. It's still not looking good, but that second point, the hope has been revitalized. Your team is back in it. You're finding your rhythm, you're finding your groove, you're finding that thing you didn't have last round that you have this round. And the enemy is shocked. They thought they would hold you at the first point. They're overconfident. It's a fluke, a flark. We could have held them. But you break that. You turn the tide through that point. You make it through the second point. Up a minute. Now they're on the ropes. It's the final point, and this is the culmination of everything. It's a fight to the end. You brought a plan into the action. Sure, it's spur of the moment, but it just might be the thing you need to work. Your team has come together. They've hit their flow. They finally found it. Their rhythm, their groove, fueled by every hit they hear, by every flash of light they see. And now you get to see the fruits of your labor. That last point, that last inch. You know, you have the trump card. Moon Knight pulls out his long, and he drops the power of the moon on the cart, and your enemies scatter. The point is yours. The output this time is no near small victory. My friend, you have completed the game. You have won. And that means it's time to complete all over the place. Alright, now we're in our final section. You see, there's been something I've been hiding from you all during the making of this video. During the progress. Through every single moment. You see, this video has not only been about satisfaction in video games. It's also been the satisfaction of making this video. You see, up until this point, I've really struggled with making long-form content like this because I've never really known how to do it. I've tried so many ways. I've watched so many videos of creators explaining their processes and like showing how it's done. And it never worked for me. But recently, I've been getting my ADHD medicated and watching more video essays by smaller creators. Stuff that's simpler, more structured, more like you can see the inner workings, the black box, slightly less obscured. And I decided today I was going to do this video. This morning, 5 a.m., I rent the recording footage. This microphone, the camera, the rim lighting on the other side of the room, that's probably not doing anything but casting a shadow right there. It's rented till tomorrow. I have one night to film this. 11 o'clock. My class for the day. Just one. I have the whole afternoon off. I spend my free time writing notes. You hear? Taking notes. And while most content creators will say that they write out a script for a video, or tagline, or whatever it is to get their footage. But I find I can't do that. I can't write out a script. I can't talk monotonely into a camera like that. I am a person built on improvisation. This video has not been scripted. This has been a probably hour-and-a-half long rant I have organized into a video. These notes, it's just words. Sections and words. Words relating to the topic. And I look at the words and I read them in my head. And then I talk about the words that I'm reading about. And I have examples that I bring up. I don't have a script. I don't have a thing that I read from. Because I can't do that. And so, I had a little theory. I'd try something different. I started writing. I got into a rhythm. And now sound effects and video effects. Now that's just content right there. But we're starting to get to that point in the recording session where I'm starting to see the output. And very soon, I'm very low in the frame here. That a little bit. Very soon, we'll start to see the completion of this work. And so, I feel like there's only one thing left to do in the video. And that's we need a conclusion. Video games are fucking satisfying. There's another thing I neglected to mention, and that satisfaction is a very personal thing. It's something that everyone expresses differently. I saw a TikTok lately. I don't watch TikTok. I watch Flats react to Marvel Rivals TikToks. And a guy mentioned in a TikTok that Flats was watching, that I was watching Flats watch. There was a clip where a guy said that one character was really satisfying to play, which I agree with. They're really satisfying. But Magneto specifically is not satisfying. And that he thinks that Magneto needs something changed about him for that. And in that moment, I realized that people see satisfaction in things very differently. Because I think that the slow, punchy projectiles of Magneto are so satisfying to connect one after another after another. And I don't want him changed because of that. I like that. And so that leads me to believe everyone sees different satisfaction in things. You probably don't play all the shooter games I do. You might play a fighting game where you get satisfaction from stringing together long combos. You might play Minecraft where you find satisfaction in a great big building project or an inventory that you got after pillaging some noob's base in a public server. You might play Balatro. And round after round, you get slightly higher and higher scores until eventually you shoot the moon. But, you know, I think it's about time I get things wrapped up. So. God, that was satisfying. I get to have my emotional moral ending, right? There's the moral of the story. There's the moral. Whoa. I'm like a super epic content creator. And tomorrow I'll make a top 10 list. Just to sink my reputation instantly. That'll be funny. Still doing that thing. What was it, 50 likes and I do ASMR video? Sure, 50. If I get 50 likes on this video, probably won't, but if I do, I'll do ASMR video for fun, for funnies. It'll be totally a joke ASMR video. I'll do it like how to basic, right? Where it starts off normal, and then it slowly and progressively gets more and more out of hand until I inevitably cause immense property damage. That'll be funny. If it ever happens. We'll see. Nobody knows how YouTube works. So, such is. Anyway. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Ivy. 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 Hang on. I want to get my cat to say bye. Oh, here she comes. Come here. I'm luring her over with the scarf. But what she doesn't know is that I'm just gonna pet her very softly and kindly. I've lured her over. Anyway, that's me and Ivy. Signing off.